I had a visit to my house by a religious group, and they came to my house in the East End of Vancouver 3 times over a period of a couple of weeks. The first time because, being raised middle-class Presbyterian, I was very polite, and so I guess they got the impression that I was actually interested in what they were selling. And so it went from there, and we ended up getting into this whole, by the 3rd visit, I was sick of them coming, and I was getting into this whole thing of questioning them and trying to get the personal, what do you think? When they kept referring to the manual, you know, the Bible, and saying, well, it says here, and flipping through when I'd ask them questions, and I wanted a personal thing, because I figure you're coming to my house with your own personal beliefs, so if you're going to have the gall to, you know, basically foist them on me, then I want to know. So the song started there, and it was I wrote it during the Reagan years in the States, and it struck me as being, there was a lot of similarities between what was going on. On the one hand, somebody's forcing their beliefs down your throat at your door, and the other hand, it's sort of in a state kind of a way. It's a larger body, but both of them are following very traditional male roles, and there's not a lot of leeway. And I guess for me, I can understand how, from a woman's perspective, that's very confining, but it's, for me, the whole point where I can relate to it is from a male perspective, because what is equally true for men and women is that there's parameters, and once you try and step outside the parameters, you get into trouble with those kind of authority figures or those kind of people that lead their lives on those beliefs. So that's actually that's a definite angry young man song, and that was where it was coming from. It was basically written in a fit of pique.
Oh, you knocking at my door, I've seen that face 1,000 times. Another old man from the old man's chair, fat ring fingers in your gray streaked hair. And when I was a child, I was taught one thing: listen to your elders and the wisdom they bring. But wisdom and age aren't the same in my eyes, and trust is not based upon wrinkles. And you left your mark on history books, the lies you told and the lies you took, and you can count on us to never really look at the sacrificial slaughter. Ah, but even lambs must open their eyes, peel back the lids and scrutinize words and bullets and smoking guns, cheap slogans for the kingdom coming. Our father of the propaganda shop, fast talk is so hard to stop, for rhetoric always rises to the top, and our cup runneth over. And our father of the golden rule, you can shape the lesson if you shape the school. Tradition is your biggest tool when you ride the big wheel of fortune. When you ride the big wheel of fortune. When you ride the big wheel of fortune. Your platform on shallow words, all mind and thought and the heart was never heard, and boneyards are filled with the things you've done. Ain't it hard to silence those that will not scatter? Our father of the golden rule, you can shape the lesson if you shape the school. Tradition is your biggest tool when you ride the big wheel of fortune. When you ride the big wheel of fortune. When you ride the big wheel of fortune. You if a sharp mind burst your big balloon, will the carnival be over? Oh, Father, Father, ride a real East prejudice is a tie I feel. Who was it taught me how to steal hearts and minds and power? Ah, Father of the propaganda shop, fast talk is so hard to stop. For rhetoric always rises to the top, and our cup runneth over. And our Father of the golden rule, you can shape the listen if you shape the stool. Tradition is your biggest tool when you ride the big wheel of fortune. 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 Ride the big wheel of fortune. Ride the big wheel of fortune.
It's hard to explain where exactly I get the idea that I have A, important ideas, and B, that they're important enough to write songs about and try and make a living from performing them. But if I do get accused of soapboxing, which I do, I was called a weekend pedant, which was interesting. It comes from a much more me talking to an individual as opposed to standing up and talking to a whole bunch of people. That's the way I see it. It'd be the sort of thing where I'd be the person that would bore your pants off at a party. It's my ideas, and I'm trying to communicate them to one other person. And I try and do that when I'm performing to different people in the audience. And I guess the songs they're fiction and they're truth. They're all truth for me, but they're not necessarily my truths.